People in Australia have started boycotting specific petrol stations over the rising cost of fuel as they prepare for a nationwide boycott which almost 150,000 people have said they might join. Sabrina Lamont says the fuel prices recently jumped over 20 cents a litre overnight, forcing her and others out of business. Now, while the average cost of fuel in the state is around $1 a litre cheaper than current New Zealand prices, it hasn't stopped the outrage there. The big fuel companies, backed up by the Australian Competition and Consumer Commission, said in June that 46% of what Aussies pay at the pump goes to the fuel supplier, 39% to the government in taxes, and the companies, like Shell or Z as it's called, or BP, get 15% to cover other costs as well as make their margin. Now that 15% margin is about the same in New Zealand, although the taxes here are higher. But Sabrina Lamont, a retired music teacher in rural Queensland, says the companies are dishonest and she's targeting her strikes at specific ones. She's so outraged by the petrol prices, she started a nationwide fuel strike organised through Facebook, which ignited calls for the same over here. Now, on October the 26th, thousands of people in Australia and New Zealand have signalled they will boycott the pumps. But what impact will that actually have? I asked Sabrina Lamont how it's come to this.
I'm feeling a little sad for the situation, actually. Too many people are losing jobs and their businesses and livelihoods. This fuel price hike is just a complete greedy grab, is what I've been calling it. And yeah, it just has not so much angered me, it's infuriated me. I feel we just need to make a change and try and make this better for everybody. It's getting out of control.
Just tell us for a second what kind of impact this is having on your life and your job.
I no longer work. I was an outback school teacher. I did this as a volunteer thing because there are no programs in the outback here for children in isolated schools. And the fuel just kept going up and up. When you're doing 500 kilometres a week out of your own pocket, it was just not viable anymore. So I've had to give up my beautiful job teaching these kids out in the outback. So it has affected me on a very personal level.
Right, now there's a bit of Australia, New Zealand, Anzac solidarity going on because there's going to be a boycott here as well on the 26th. It seems that people are targeting all the petrol stations on the one day. Yep. Is that the right strategy, or are there other strategies in place where you can actually really punish different sellers one by one?
Look, I believe standing as one is the best strategy. Now, it might not be the perfect strategy. We might not have got this completely right, but for all intensive purposes, what it has done is had people learn to stand up again together. And once we get the people back into that vibe of proud of their country and proud of themselves and standing up, then we can fight on a higher level. So this is more about getting the people together first, and we'll try and do it this way. And then when this strike is over, we plan to keep going. This isn't the end. The 26th isn't the last day of strikes. This is the beginning.
And you have been targeting these strikes already, haven't you? Have you seen any improvement or any action as a result?
Well, we started snap striking about 4 weeks ago. So we took a poll to the voters, and they chose what petrol stations they believe are being the most rip-off. That came down to BP and Coles. So for the last 3-4 weeks, we have been boycotting BP and Coles already. I can't say improvement. The prices have been going up, and they're trying to blame, as I said, the economy, blah, blah, load of crap. But I have noticed a huge change in where people are buying. People are lining up out the streets, and I personally have lined out in the street for about 25 minutes to get the cheaper fuel, while the major outlets were across the road empty. Now, these are outlets that are never empty, and people are boycotting the big brands left, right and centre and going to the independents that have offerings of cheaper fuel. So I do believe these snap strikes are making a difference and preparing people and getting them psyched into what they've got to do on the 26th.
And you encouraging New Zealanders to do the same thing over here, where prices are actually a lot higher?
Oh, my gosh, I had a lady from, I think she was actually from Australia, but she had a lot of friends. She goes, how can we help our New Zealand, brothers and sisters? And when she showed me the prices, I fell over backwards. And I said, well, we've got to help our brothers and sisters. I said, so this is what you do. Take it from ours, do exactly the same day and maximum impact all around. So she took it to her friends in New Zealand who started up and followed us and took suit.
OK, what do you think, Sabrina, on the role of social media here? I've checked your page today. I think you've got about 74,000 odd people that want to do it. I think there's another similar figure, 73 or 74,000 people that are interested. That's what happens with Facebook. You get a whole lot of maybes. I mean, what do you think of the role social media has played? Can you trust it that they're going to deliver for you on the day?
I trust those voices 100%. I've never seen Australia this fired up in a long time. It's just gone to 74,000, yes, actually saying they will go. We've got 73 interested, but we also have around 12,000 non-Facebook supporters also going. But social media is, I've never really had much to do with it until now. It's amazing how far things can reach. It's reached worldwide. So go social media.
Sabrina Lamont there in Queensland. She's organising a general petrol station boycott on October the 26th, I think, and she says that's just the beginning. We've already got a little bit of feedback on this. Wal's been in touch on the text and says fuel tax here is out of control. For a bit of balance as well, someone else has got in touch and says, meanwhile, the cost of bottled water is more expensive than fuel. Where's the outrage there? Pretty sure water doesn't require a $2.5 billion refinery to produce. Interesting perspective.